So Ian Garry made a mistake because he got matched up with Geoff Neal for UFC 292, and he was calling out Neil Magny. So he got the wrong Neil. Big mistake. But is it? I don't think it really is. Because I look at this matchup, and on paper, I think, he might have made a big mistake, taking on Geoff Neal. Because Geoff Neal got those hands of steel. The boxing is very tough. And Ian Garry got dropped by Song Kenan. So Geoff Neal could definitely drop him. But the problem is, it's a bad matchup. It's a bad matchup for Geoff Neal. I think Ian Garry poses a lot of problems that has caused problems for Geoff Neal in the past. If we look at his past opponents, you could even look at the last fight against Shavkat Rakhmonov. Now, the problems that Geoff Neal has when he fights guys that are tall and long is he can't use his boxing. His boxing is his number one asset. He's got great hands. Inside game is beautiful. But the problem is he goes up against these taller guys like a Shavkat Rakhmonov, like a Neil Magny, like a Stephen Thompson, and he can't use his best ability. And even in the Shavkat fight, Shavkat fought like an idiot. I think he fought just absolutely terrible. He had some great moments, and he was still able to win the fight because he's Shavkat Rakhmonov. But he gave Geoff Neal chances in that fight where I'm like, there was no reason for him to do that. He could have stayed at kicking range for most of the fight. He could have gone for the takedowns, but he came to brawl. And maybe he just wanted to prove something to himself. But Geoff Neal took advantage of a lot of spots in that fight that he didn't need to leave open. And I look at how Ian Garry fights, super calculated. He doesn't take a lot of risks. He stays to the outside. He uses his weapons very well. And this matchup against Geoff Neal, although it looks like a big step up in competition because Geoff Neal's been within the top 10, within the top 15 for a long time, and I saw that fight get announced, and I'm like, I like Geoff Neal. Geoff Neal's probably going to be an underdog. He's probably going to be a live dog. I like it. But then I think about the stylistic matchup, and I got to lean in Gary's way. And I'll be honest, I've been somewhat of a hater on Ian Garry because he fights, I don't want to say he fights boring, but he fights so calculated. He won't take a lot of risks. And he'll stay to the outside. He uses jabs. He'll use his kicks. And he fights very calculated. And then he'll talk like a big game of he's going to go out and murk guys. And he did in his last fight. I was very impressed in his last fight with the head kick to Daniel Rodriguez. But overall, he's just got this big bravado, which helps him out and probably helps with his confidence a lot. But in the fight, how he fights is not like this big, super confident guy that's just going to go out there and destroy you. It's just not how he fights, which I don't think he should fight that way. I think the way he fights is very effective. But in this one against Geoff Neal, he can't get drawn into that brawl type of fight that Shavkat did. Probably going to look at that film because I believe they train at the same camp, Killcliff FC. He's probably going to look at that film and see, all right, these are the spots that Shavkat had success in, and those spots were with his kicks, with the head kicks, inside, so not in boxing range, but in the clinch with the knees and the elbows, and ultimately with the submission, the standing rear naked choke. But when it was in boxing range and Shavkat was doing these sloppy combos, Neal was piecing him up. I mean, he hit him with a hard combo in round 3 that if Shavkat's got a couple more years of miles on that chin, could put him out. He's undefeated. He's probably very durable at this point in his career. But you can't be taking those shots from a guy like Geoff Neal. But even in fights like against Neil Magny, similar frame, 6'3", Stephen Thompson's another tall guy that uses his length and distance very well. He lost both of those fights. But you look at a guy that Neal has fought in the past, like Vicente Luque, he's going to walk you down. He's not going to try to bounce around from the outside. He is a matador, just walks you down, not a lot of head movement, just wants to stand and strike with you, who milks in the takedowns. But that's the type of matchup that works very well for Geoff. If you can get, if he can get his opponent to move towards you and he can kind of counter or just be first, be on the outside and then attack, he's very good there. Even against Ponzinibbio, who we all know that guy is gonna look to pressure you and be in your face. It works very well against Geoff Neal. Ian Garry's not gonna do that. He's used his kicks beautifully in his UFC career, and the hands are fast. He doesn't overextend himself too much. So I look at this one like maybe it was a mistake as far as the call-out goes because it sounded like he wanted Neil Magny, but he's getting Geoff Neal, so the wrong Neal. But I think this is a good matchup for Ian Garry. It might be the best matchup that's available for him. Look in the welterweight division. Ian Garry's ranked number 13 now. Michael Chiesa is going to test the wrestling. He's ranked number 12. I mean, maybe Neil Magny would be another guy that would be a favorable matchup to him. A guy that's probably going to, I mean, a similar frame, but he doesn't present a lot of problems on the feet that I think Garry would look a lot better on the feet than Neil Magny if they were to fight. But the cage control could be a problem, but I think Garry could be able to get away from him. Luque might be a decent matchup for him, but they both train at the same camp, and Luque has got the submission skills as well. And then you look at a guy like Sean Brady, he's just going to go for the takedowns. And then there's Geoff Neal. So I think Geoff Neal's probably the best matchup for him, which seems crazy to say. But Geoff Neal, I would assume he's going to be the dog in this one. And I think he is live. But if Ian Garry can fight to his abilities and stay smart like he has shown he has the ability to, I think he wins this fight. I think he does, which is crazy to say because I'm a big believer in Geoff Neal, but this is just not a good matchup for him. It's not a style that he has done well with in the past. So, we'll see how it works out. UFC 292 in Boston, and I'm excited for it. Very excited for it. Hopefully I can get out there. But if you enjoyed the video, drop a like. If you want to support the channel, drop a subscription. And if you think I'm right or wrong, let me know in the comments. Till then, Hey Job Picks, signing out.